Good morning and welcome to 101 Live here at Net2 TV. It's always an interesting story behind the cameras. Trust me, I'm sure you wish you know why we're all laughing. Yes, but today we are having with us here on 101 Mr. Paul ASARE. ASARE ANSAH. He is the Director General for Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. And we have a lot to tackle. I know when we talk about Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority, every single Ghanaian has a stake, has an interest. And trust you me, we will make sure we tackle as much as we can. But like we do all the time, we will look at a few topics and a few headlines from the newspapers, and then we go straight into issues happening at the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Mr. Paul ASARE ANSAH, you're welcome to 101.
Thank you very much.
Good to have you here on the show.
Nice to have you too.
I like your African wear. It's looking very nice.
Thank you very much.
How's your day going? I know we're starting your day with a cup of tea.
With great optimism.
Wow.
Yeah.
Wow. How are you enjoying office?
Oh yes, it's very challenging, but I believe we're up to the task. We are doing as much to meet the expectations. The port industry is the for business development in Ghana, and if the port goes down, business goes down.
True.
If the port goes up, business goes down.
True.
So it's a critical national asset that we must marshal all the skills and knowledge and expertise and experience to turn it around, and we are doing just that.
I'll take a quick opinion on this story on the Ghanaian Times that says late J.B. Danquah's autopsy report missing after thieves raid pathologist's house. We will just touch on this because we have a lot to talk about from Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. But this that's a gray, because how do you have a particular autopsy report missing out of the hundreds? And what kind of thief would steal an autopsy report?
It's a bit baffling. In the first place, why do you send an autopsy report to your house? Among in the Kolebu Teaching Hospital,
yes,
in the office, so to send it to your house, was it that particular report that was sent to the house, or all reports that all autopsies are kept in his house? That's one question. Yes. The next one is, what on earth will an armed robber be looking for autopsy to do? It might have been kept in his house. That is the incentive for financial
$1 million one.
So it's a bit baffling. Well, I believe that the would pry into that to find out why it happened like that.
Why an autopsy report?
Yes.
A single one of that from his house. To me, it doesn't really tally.
It doesn't fly, really.
Yeah. That's the very odd one.
Yeah.
The rest, I think it's quite okay. But let's just go straight into 2017 report from the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. How was the performance?
Well, definitely, it was better last year, in terms of vessel traffic, in terms of cargo traffic, in terms of the financials. It's better than last year. Most of the time, or in most cases, we're able to exceed the target for 2017. It was only on one item, but even that explanation, there's an explanation to that. In terms of vessel traffic, last year, for example, we handled about 1,830 vessels. But this year we handled 1,850. That is, we exceeded last year by 20. However, we didn't hit the target of 1,900 something, because bigger vessels called with bigger tonnages. And that is why last year, for instance, we handled about 19 million tons of cargo. And we were targeting about 20 million this year, but we handled 21 million this year. So it tells you that the bigger vessels brought larger tonnages, volumes of cargo. Yeah. In terms of the financials, also we did relatively better.
Yeah. I thought there was an increment.
Yeah, last year we made that our general income for last year was about 1 billion. You know, this year we made about 1.1 billion. If you look at our income after tax, last year was about, this year we performed than last year.
Almost about 2.6% increment. And if we are asking why the
going to 140 million, the total revenue or the income after tax?
No, the income after tax. Okay. I have here.
Yes.
So
we increased it by more than 100%, from 56 million to 140 million.
Okay. Yeah. So my question was, what would you attribute this gallop?
Well, as you could, the increase in business in terms of cargo throughput, the bulk of our revenue comes handling cargo. So there's increased cargo throughput or cargo traffic support, and we also employed some prudent management practices. I mean, cost cutting has been my focus. We try to reduce costs as much as possible, because it's a business organization, and we must ensure that our overhead cost, is minimal, so that we can make some more profit. Although profit maximization is not the ultimate objective, yeah, but we try to manage it as prudently as possible. Yes.
Cargo traffic, it also went very high. Yeah. Previously it was managed well, or people
no, it's managed well. It's managed.
Questions, but
one of the best in the country as far as business is concerned. We manage it like any proper business organization would manage it. We have well mapped out business practices. Our business processes are automated, to a very large extent, though we've not completed automation processes yet.
We're going to go to that.
Yes, exactly. So good management is a reflection of the economy as well, and business better, and there are more products that we've been also able to attract from the landlord countries of Niger, Mali, Burkina Faso, and even domestically we have increase in both import and export products. So that accounts for the increase in the cargo traffic and the better performance for that matter.
We will come to what people call the paperless operation.
Yep.
Some new financing modules and the new projects GPHA'S is undertaking, and some other topics.
That's
right.
But
before we come to that, let me just quickly say this. The government of Ghana, under the leadership of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, invites the general public to a national interfaith Thanksgiving service marking 25 years of Fourth Republic Ghana, celebrating the goodness of the Lord. The event is dated the Sunday 7th of 2018, and it will be at the Independence Square. All guests must be seated by 3 p.m. Let's celebrate God and Mary. All Christian, Muslims, and all are invited. 25 years of Fourth Republic of Ghana, celebrating the goodness of the Lord. This from the office of the president for a celebration and thanksgiving of the 25th and 4th Republic, 25th year, 25 years and 4th Republic of Ghana. Let's come to Mr. ASARE ANSAH. Tell us about this paperless operation in the port. We had a lot of issues at the beginning. To me, it seems like it's dying off.
No, the paperless came about as a result of certain challenges that confronted the industry. Complained, we advocated. We realized, for example, that the processes were a bit more cumbersome, and the human interface was a challenge, because we had a lot of agencies doing business in the port or performing various roles in the port, and all those roles they were performing backed by legislative instruments. They had their what they were doing and how they were doing it, and we as a port authority did not even have the right to they could or could not be taken. You know, so it got to a point that the multiplicity of agencies and the duplication of the activities was so burdensome for the cargo clearance process, and there was definitely the need for authority to whip everybody in line,
System, yeah.
exactly, to so that have exactly to have a definite way of doing things, a more regulated way of doing things. So the presidency came up with the, you know, overdue, and we were brought into the national security storms standard about 20 years. So we assembled a team together. We did all the necessary engagement with stakeholder organizations and agencies and individuals, and we had virtually about 3 to 4 months to leverage it. We had 2 service providers, the GCNet and the West Blue. That was also a major challenge,
Yeah.
because we had to determine who would do what between the 2 of them. Ideally, we should have had just one service provider.
It looked like a lot of people had problems with GCNet. I personally cleared a few stuff, and your agents will tell you GCNet hasn't sent this, GCNet is down, So I've heard GCNet a couple of times,
Yeah.
but for any time I hear about GCNet is when people have problems with them.
Well, the fact remains that it takes about 9 months to achieve a flawless paperless regime.
I agree.
You know, but we had about 3 months to do that, and so there would be challenges, but the challenges as they unfold, we address them. You know, we address them. There's a lot more to be done. To a very large extent, we have achieved the implementation of a successful paperless regime within 3 months, which was very, very encouraging, very an excellent kind of achievement. But there's still a lot to be done. We are just at the level of import clearance. We are moving to export clearance. We are moving to transit clearance. So these are,
and all that will be
phases, yes, that we have begun to
system.
Exactly. We have begun to roll out. We have begun to consult with each other over how to achieve that one as well. But what we have done so far is a good foundation we have laid. It's a good beginning, you know, and we are moving it forward.
Yeah.
The challenges that we have observed, we were told, for example, that the cost of clearance has gone higher. But then when you analyze the situation carefully, you realize that customs has not increased their duty. It's the same duty that is being paid. So what has made the cost gone higher? Does it mean that because the human interface has been removed, people are now paying the real duty that should have been paid?
Exactly.
You know, and we realize that to a large extent is a reality. And then secondly, we also realize that some of the agents manufacture their own they manufacture invoices.
I'm a victim of that.
Okay. And they send to the importers as if these are the port charges.
And then you
but
come and it's different.
exactly, and, you know. So we are developing a system of feedback to the importers, where the paperless system would trigger a feedback that I mean, if the importer enters a code,
that doesn't tally.
If the importer enters a code in the transaction, it will trigger a feedback of all the invoices that were generated for payment.
I see.
So on his mobile phone or her mobile phone, he will have access to the invoices. It is the agent that interfaces between us and the shipper. Yeah. You know, so if the agent, if the shipper does not have access to us, then he can be fooled.
He can be in the dark.
He can be exactly. He's at the mercy of the agent. If the agent is not honest, is not truthful, that would be a very serious challenge. So, if the agent, if the importer enters a code of his transaction, it will trigger a feedback with all the invoices. Then he can verify
whether it's true,
whether what the agent has brought him is true.
Is this paperless thing meant to phase out this agent's business completely eventually?
No, you cannot phase them out, because the agents are well-trained individuals or companies to be able to process order. You know, port clearance, the customs clearance are a bit cumbersome.
Yeah.
You know, if you make it less cumbersome, you make it vulnerable to manipulation.
Yeah.
You know, so it is such that people who have been trained would have
the only people who can handle.
If we open the door for supply, I mean for shippers themselves to process, there are bound to be mistakes.
That would be horrible.
And when you make one mistake, you have to go back to start the process. And if 100 people make a mistake in a day, you can imagine what is likely to happen. So the agents are very, very important.
Yes.
Yes.
I've come to situations where the trained agents themselves are not doing anything. They only ask their boys to go do it, and go and see my boy, and you know. And sometimes you look at this person handling your documents in the name of an agent's boy or an agent, and you think with your little skill or your little knowledge, you can be prudent and go through the steps by yourself. Then you ask yourself, why an agent?
No, the accredited agencies have agents working for them who are equally trained. And then you have the Goro boys.
Exactly.
Who are not properly trained, you know, but they find their way into the system. It is the Goro boys that the system is designed to
whip out.
To whip, you know, weed out of the entire value chain, you know. But the accredited agents have also found a way of allowing the Guru boys to work on their platform. But I don't have any problem with that, provided that the Guru boys would be professional in their approach and would avoid this kind of unethical practices, because most of the time they are the people who are involved in those unethical practices.
True.
Cutting corners, profiteering to ensure that they become rich within a short time, you know. But if you are an accredited agent and you allow the Guru boys into your system to use your system, and they mess it up, they misconduct themselves, it is you, the accredited agent, who be held responsible.
What are some of the penalties?
We can go to the extent of withdrawing your license, because we license them every year. We will withdraw your license, and not only your agency, you as an individual will equally be declared persona non grata from the port.
Have you done any so far?
Not yet, but we are looking out for anybody who would allow such unethical practices on his platform.
We would like to be the first to announce one of these agencies who have been nullified or have been or their licenses have been withdrawn for malpractices. So we can use it as an example to the public.
There are some events incidents that we are investigating. Yes, and if we determine that indeed what was said to have happened indeed happened, those who were behind it will have to suffer the consequences. Yeah.
Great. We'll take a quick break, and when we come back, we will talk about new projects happening here. Sorry, ANSAH, and he is the Managing Director for Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. He's taking it, hearing from himself, I think there's no doubt he's going to whip up some of the bad nuts out of it, and we'll be here to bring you the news as it unfolds. We'll be right back. Welcome back. Let me quickly put this through again, and we'll come back to Mr. Paul ASARE ANSAH. Ghana's Fourth Republic is Dankwa Akufo-Addo invites the general public to a national interfaith Thanksgiving service marking the 25 years of the Fourth Republic of Ghana, celebrating the goodness of the Lord. Date Sunday, 7th January 2018. Venue, the Independence Square, Accra. All guests must be seated by 3 p.m. Come, let's celebrate, worship, and thank the Lord for his goodness and mercies. All Christians, Muslims, and people of all faiths are invited. 25 years of the Fourth Republic of Ghana, celebrating goodness of the Lord. And I hope to see you there, because I will be there. No invitations needed. Mr. ASARE ANSAH, you're coming with us, right?
That's right.
And I hope to see you there on the 7th.
Absolutely.
Well, good. I'm hoping to see each and every one of us come to thank the Lord. If for nothing at all, just come to thank the Lord for his goodness and mercy.
Very necessary.
Yeah.
Yes.
In Africa, Ghana has been a light when it comes to democracy. Ghana has been an example, even outside the country. I think we are doing even better than some of the countries outside Africa.
Yeah.
Democratically, and
that's right.
I pray we are able to maintain and pass on power smoothly as the people decide. And I like the fact that Ghanaians now look at your performance instead of propaganda and insults and abuse on the airwaves.
That's right.
Yeah. Come back to ports. Tell us some of the new projects. I want you to tackle on the financing model.
Yeah. What the issue about financing model emerges from the projects we are undertaking.
Okay.
You know, the port industry is so dynamic that there must be continuing improvement in the infrastructure, in the processes. So to enhance capacity or expand capacity to handle more cargo, we have initiated a lot of expansion projects, both in Tema and Takoradi. In Takoradi, projects run into close to 800 million to 1 billion US dollars. Eventually, that is by the time we'll complete our master plan for development of Takoradi Port. Tema Port at the moment is also experiencing about 1.5 billion US dollar worth of expansion, and is going to go higher, you know, when our master plan is completely rolled out. We expect to spend about close to about 2 billion US dollars in doing that. But then what we realize is that most of the time when we talk about port concessions, because they involve huge amount of money, Ghanaians are not able to get involved. In fact, this development is not only limited to Ghana, but across the entire West African sub-region. Now, when you go to all the ports, you realize that especially container terminals and some multi-purpose terminals are 100% monopolies of foreign companies, you know. And that is not a good development for the sub-region, because the maritime sector is a profitable sector, it's a lucrative sector, and we need to build the capacity and empowerment of indigenous, locals, Africans, to be able to control the industry and then retain the benefits from that industry in the economy, to grow the economy. But what is happening is that the monies are made, they are repatriated, and you sign, under a concession agreement of, say, 25 years. After 25 years, it's supposed to be handed over to the indigens. Transfer of technology is supposed to occur within the concession period. But technology is not transferred. After the 25-year period, it's renewed to another 25 years, and another 20. So at the end of the day, the benefits are not felt, or it's not felt by the locals, by the local economy, as much as it should do. And so the PPP model that we are employing to source for funding for port development is not sustainable, so far as we are concerned. It is not sustainable in its current form, right? Because it's benefiting only foreigners. And so we must come up with a more sustainable means of financing port development. And you will agree with me that, or much as it is true that port infrastructure development cannot compete with the provision of other social facilities and services for education, for health, for transport, other transport models like road transport, rail transport, and all that. Port investment cannot compete, so far as government budget is concerned, with these other services. And so the port, which is self-sustaining, must generate its, from its own activity, from its own operations, must generate adequate funding to drive development in the industry, to drive sustainability of the industry. So we are coming out with the Port Infrastructure Development Fund, the fund that can generate the resources, if not 100% finance port development, it will at least empower the local, exactly, like the Port Authority, for example. It will empower us to leverage a more respectable shareholding structure with the private sector, whether the private sector is Ghanaian or foreign. It will enable us, come up with more respectable shareholding structure. And with foreign investors, foreign partners, so far as port development is concerned. The whole of the sub-region is always private sector monopoly, controlled by the foreign investor. That is not good enough for our industry. So we are, and you see, one unfortunate development we have seen is that the foreign investors are backed powerfully by foreign institutions, like the World Bank, for example, backing the foreign investor very, very powerfully, sometimes to the detriment of the Ghanaian.
So why can't the Ghanaian also go and assess some of these supports from the international organizations and from very huge institutions that can financially support some of these operations? And
you see, Ghanaians are sometimes able to raise that kind of funds, those kind of funds, but the funding is controlled by the international institutions. It's controlled by the international institutions. And I mean, what happens in the international business world is sometimes it's very challenging for the Ghanaian to assess. For example, when the Ghanaian is competing with the foreign interests. For example, let me give you one practical example. For the Takoradi, there is a facility called container multipurpose berth, which we were trying to develop. Now, we got some transactional advisors to advise us on the way forward, the best model, the best approach to concessioning that facility. It happened that the transactional advisors who are paid with funds provided by the World Bank, it happened that the container terminal, the threshold for qualification, in handling a container terminal was fixed at 250,000 TEUs. That's 20-footer equivalent units, 250,000. And then the bulk was fixed at 3 million tons. No Ghanaian has ever handled that. So straight away, Ghanaians are cleared out of the competition.
So it means straight away it's beyond what a Ghanaian can handle.
Absolutely, that they don't have the experience. But the question is, if a Ghanaian should have experience in handling a terminal, whether conventional or container terminal, where would that Ghanaian get that experience? Certainly not from Antwerp, not from Las Palmas, not from New York port, but from a Ghanaian port.
That is true.
So we have to empower them. We have to build their capacity to be able to contribute meaningfully to the development in the port industry. And we as a port authority are prepared to partner our indigenous Ghanaian counterparts. We expect some giants to emerge, like the Ibistex, like the Magdans, the Allship. We expect them to build the capacity to become major key players, terminal operators.
Compete with the foreign partners.
Exactly. So that at a certain point in time, when the foreign donors are bringing us aid, we can tell them that the port industry is self-sustaining. And thank you for the previous goodies you have been doing. But now we don't need that kind of support. Exactly. Now we don't need the support. The technical and competent men to handle the industry. That is why some time ago there was a function, and some of these foreign partners were trying to challenge us why we are still handling vessels. We are still doing vessel handling when other ports in the sub-region have privatized. And they have privatized it. It's not their indigenous.
Privatize it to foreign nationals.
To foreign nationals.
Foreign companies.
And that one we are not ready to do, because we are handling our vessels as competently as the foreign nationals in other countries would do or can do. So why do we have to privatize it? At least whatever is generated, whatever income is generated from that activity is retained in the country.
So you believe in empowering the locals to take charge over the operations and very high technical.
That is how our independence will become meaningful to us as Ghanaians and as Africans.
But have you invited a few who you think, like the Magdans, the Allshippings, who have the capacity to be beefed up if they are helped to stay up? They
are all doing business in the port. They are operators in the port. Magdan is in shore handling now, Allship also in shore handling operations. And they are doing well. But we need to support them. We need to encourage them. We need to empower them to develop the full capacity to partner us in moving the industry forward.
It looks as if a lot of the Ghanaians are quite comfortable with just the import and exports. The small scale, 240-footer, 1040, maximum 150-40-footers, clear, sell, or ship, import and export thing. And most of their problems have been high import duties, high import taxes going high, because it's expected, or it's known to be a very high-end kind of business for people who are doing well. And so when government slaps taxes or duties on them, doesn't even look back.
Well,
I'm looking at people like from Abosukai and all that. I mean, I'm sure there are individuals who have that much money and technical ability to step up to the level you are talking about right now. But either some of them will not have a knowledge of what you're saying right now, or probably will be scared at the high interest or high duty thing in this kind of operations.
Well, incidentally, the duty payment is the responsibility for customs. Now, we don't determine the duty. All that we collect is the handling charges. When you bring your cargo, we handle the cargo for you, or we handle the vessel for you, then we take some local fuel. You know. But the customs is collecting the bulk of the money for government. That's the customs duty. So the issue are about taxes being high. That could be looked at. That could be looked at, especially with the paperless. That is bringing the true value the taxes that people are paying. Yeah. I believe that's why people are beginning to feel it.
Yeah.
Because in the past, maybe they might have their own way of minimizing it. You know, I'm not saying that's what happened. I said they might have had their own way. So it shouldn't be a closed chapter. We should be able to subject that issue into, serious consideration and determine whether or not the duties must be reduced, but ensure that people pay the right duty. That is something to consider anyway. That is something that I believe that if Customs and Ghana Revenue Authority considers it, it will improve the trade. But that notwithstanding, I think the emphasis now should be on growing of exports, because we are expanding the port to about 3 times, the Tema port, to about 3 times the current capacity, not to encourage more imports, but
to be able
to
to
help grow the exports, to balance our trade. Now, there is serious deficit between imports and exports, and any country that has whose imports overwhelm exports is bound to have difficulties. Yeah. So that deficit balance of trade between imports and export must be cured by accelerating the growth of exports. And so, as one of our strategy, we are teaming up with certain agencies that are responsible for growing exports. We have already met most of them. Export Promotion, Ghana Export Promotion Council, the Free Zones Board, because Free Zone is mandated to grow export processing, industries and companies and things. And then Exim Bank, we've also met Exim Bank. They are keen in partnering us as well, and Exporters Association, and all others, Ghana Shippers Authority, all others connected with the growth of export, so that we come up with an integrated strategy, that we will implement jointly to ensure that we encourage
and boost export.
Exactly, we encourage development of exports. We definitely have a lot, to do in terms of our processes, in terms of the cost, port cost, to ensure that our exports become internationally competitive. Competitive on the international market, and encourage more. The resemblance of Dubai, Dubai, where people from all over the world prefer to go there and establish businesses, So we hope this 2018 we are going to.
That is more of your target.
We are going to strengthen that partnership, that collaboration that will lead to accelerated growth in the export sector.
So this is just one side of accelerating exports, expanding the port facilities to be able to handle all the exports that will come in.
And minimizing the cost of their transaction in the port.
Exactly.
Yes.
Now, all the stakeholders, what have they done in their capacity or in their part? Because I know increasing export capacity or the strength of export, it's not only about opening space and cutting, reducing cost at the port. It also comes into empowering the people to produce more, finishing their goods properly, and also trying to meet the international market standards. International standards. That's true. So, what are the others doing, and who is PSPA?
Individually, all these agencies are doing their best. They are of course, in pursuit of their individual mandates. But what I'm saying is that there should be a collaborative effort. We are trying to spearhead that collaboration among all of us. And that's why I said that we have already visited all these agencies. Now we are going to have a national, kind of seminar or workshop with the agencies I'm talking about, the relevant agencies, where we will identify our efforts together and our potentials together, and then determine what we can do together, you know, as a unified strategy. Exactly, as a unified strategy that will yield better results than doing what we are doing individually. And we believe that in 2018 we'll see more of that collaboration, and the results would be better.
We hope for that.
Yes.
I have one more concern. When you're shipping from outside the country, abroad, let's say Portland Port or maybe Washington Port, or
okay,
you can easily assess whatever you're doing and the progress of your shipment from online, from your laptop, from your home. Even you can track your vessels, you can do all that stuff. When you come to Ghana and you want to track your vessel, it always tells you one same thing. The vessel is either not there or has not been docked or something like that.
Car, for example, that you are importing, it is there. And then with the shipping lines, you know, you can always track the movement of your container. I imported a car, for example, a few years ago, and I was able to track the movement of the container, you know, from the US, you know, it goes into transshipment through Las Palmas or through Barcelona or some, places like ASARE, and you see it. Any movement, yes, at any point in time, you enter the details of your container and you see it. And when it arrives, you see that it has arrived. In our on our website, for example, you know, when you go there today, you will see all the vessels that are berthed in the port, and you see the characteristics of all the vessels that are berthed in the port now. So if you will be able to track the movement of your cargo, you know, and with the paperless, it's even easier. You know, it will tell you if it tells you you are supposed to pay maybe 100,000. Then it is 100,000, because the human interface that is likely to interfere, you know,
and massage
figures. That human interface has been taken away by the paperless regime, you know. So you know exactly how much you are supposed to pay, and it will be exactly that, you know. Except that you have an agent who will want to massage the figures, but that one too,
I think it minimizes it.
Yes, we are removing that possibility by giving a direct feedback to this will pop up, you know, and he'll be able to know that indeed this is the real amount that he's supposed to pay, and not that somebody has massaged it. So as we progress, we will enhance the reliability of the paperless regime for everybody. Yes.
That is great to hear. I will once again touch on this. Ghana's Fourth Republic is 25 years old. The government of Ghana, under the leadership of His Excellency Nana Addo Dankwa Akufo-Addo, invites the general public to a national interfaith Thanksgiving marking the 25 years of the Fourth Republic of Ghana, celebrating the goodness of the Lord. This event is happening on Sunday, 7th January 2018 at the Independence Square. All guests must be seated by 3 p.m. Come, let's celebrate, worship, and thank God for His goodness and mercies. All Christians, Muslims, and people of all faiths are invited. 25 years of the Fourth Republic of Ghana, celebrating the goodness of the Lord. And Mr. ASARE ANSAH is going to be there. I'm going to be there myself. We will take his final words and a few words to people who have partnered with him, stakeholders at the port, business clients, a few New Year words to them.
Well, I want to wish everybody a happy and prosperous New Year, and stress-free business practices through the port.
Stress-free.
And I want to say that our doors are open. We have, apart from having a customer service point, our doors are open. The director of port, Mr. Eduardo Say, his doors are open. My doors are open as well. Captain Afizi Intakrade's doors are equally opened. If you have any challenge, whether it is emanating from systems or individuals posing any challenge, let us know. Let us know as quickly as possible, so that we will mitigate, you know, or we remedy those challenges, and in order that our works will be smooth. We are going to collaborate as much as possible with all stakeholders, with importers, exporters, agents, shipping agents, everybody doing business with us. We open our doors to you. Come, let us think through together and make sure that our business becomes very, very smooth, to minimize the challenges as much as possible. We would want to build consensus going forward as much as possible, so we'll be consulting with you as we've been doing. We will intensify our consultation. This year we are going to launch the Port Community Association that brings us together more closely in formulating policies and implementing policies that are mutually beneficial and mutually acceptable between us and you out there as stakeholders. So 2018 is going to be a more refreshing year. Yeah.
That is awesome. That is awesome. 2018 is going to be a more refreshing year. Coming from the managing director of the Ghana Ports and Harbours Authority. Director General. I keep saying managing director, Director General. Okay. He's been a very active and very, very intuitive and powerful leader. I've heard of a few changes you've caused, and you still stand very firm by your policies. And I think they are working. So far, so good. And we'll encourage you to continue. We need people like you to sanitize and help moving the country forward. Thank you for coming through the show. And this is One-on-One live at Net2 TV. We will come your way again next time tomorrow, same time. But we come your way same time on Monday. Thank you, Safo. I think I'm so excited. I want us to do it again tomorrow. But yes, we're moving on to national agenda, and Amofa is right on the standby to take you through the happenings in the country. My name once again is Jonas Abedianim, and we're done for the day.